This is the platform on Millennium TV. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ruben Monza, and I'll be with you on the program tonight. We are featuring Mr. Honorable Sebastian Kopulande, and of course, he is the former Chamber MP. We'll be discussing national matters, everything to do with the economy, agriculture, and the mining sector as well. And thank you so much for joining us on the program. My name is Ruben Monza. Like I said, we are live on our Facebook page. We are also live on Millennium TV channel 95 on Top Star. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Kopulande, Honorable, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ruben. It's wonderful to be on Millennium.
Great. It's
been a while.
All right. All right, let's talk about national matters, Mr. Kopulande. I'm sure you are aware of the economic situation. Let me just get your honest opinion on the performance of the economy currently. What would you say about it?
Well, to assess an economy and how it is performing, we have to ask ourselves a very critical question. And this question is, for whose benefit is an economic system managed? Who is supposed to be the primary beneficiary of an economic system? It's the population. It's the people. It's the citizens of the country. So that whatever economic system we put in place, those in the position to manage the economy must design the economic system for the purpose of improving the welfare and the well-being of the citizens. Now, let us look at the objective reality today. It is a well-known fact that the poverty levels in Zambia have reached catastrophic proportions. We are in a situation now where 64% of Zambians live below the national poverty line. That is living below $2 a day. And we are saying 64% people approximately are living under the poverty line. Nearly 48% of the population live under what is called extreme poverty and cannot access basic food needs, their basic food needs. Today, poverty in the rural areas stands at 78.8%. When you look at poverty in the urban areas, 32% people died poor. And in our situation, nearly 48% of the population have no access to health facilities, to education, even though it is called free, no access to decent housing, no access to electricity, no access to safe drinking water. When you look at the food and nutritional conditions of the families, 31% of the population is undernourished. Wow, 30% of the children are stunted. 30% of under 5 children. The nutritional situation in the country is highly unsatisfactory. And of course, this was exacerbated by the drought of 2024-2025. But then, despite the drought, we had sufficient food reserves, maize stocks, for 3 years at the time of change of government in 2021. All that 3-year maize reserve was exported. And then we are hit by an all-time heavy drought. That doesn't help us, does it? We exported the maize. We now had to start importing maize at more than the price at which we sold our own maize.
Why do you think they exported the maize that was found?
I don't know. I don't know what their thinking was. I think they were driven by the dollar wish, I'd call it. They wanted to make some quick money. I can tell you, most of the people that were given contracts to export the maize were party cadres. It was more used as an empowerment tool for the party cadres who had just won an election. For them, so give them the... I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact that a number of party cadres actually had contracts from the FRA to export maize. So we are in a situation where the World Bank has classified us as the 60th poorest country in the world. We are in a situation where the World Bank has classified us as the 4th most unequal country in the world, meaning the gap between the rich and the poor is huge. Hence, what is called the Gini coefficient, our Gini coefficient, is 57%. What this means is that most of the economic resources in the country are benefiting the minority of the people. Wow. The majority are wallowing
in poverty,
in very serious poverty.
You've just raised, some serious issues here, where you've talked about how malnourished people are, how people are living below the poverty datum line. And obviously, these statistics that you've talked about are huge statistics. How alarming is the situation right now when it comes to the economic performance of Zambia currently? Would you say it's a dangerous situation?
Extremely. Let me bring you to attention of research done by the University of Zambia in conjunction with the University of Nairobi in what is called the Afrobarometer report, which was released in March, on 17th March to be specific, 17th March 2025, where it reported, and I quote, 2/3 or 66% of Zambians say the country is heading in the wrong direction. Secondly, it showed that the increasing cost of living tops the list of the most important problems that Zambians want the government to address. Thirdly, economic considerations dominate the reasons that Zambians consider immigrating from the country. Fourthly, 73% of citizens, 73% of the citizens of Zambia describe the country's economic conditions as very bad. That tells you the story. These are not Kopulande numbers. These are numbers, research conducted by two of Africa's topmost universities. The question you may ask me is, what has led to that? Today in 2025. What has led to that? Let's look at the situation, economic situation in 2021 vis-a-vis today in 2025. The exchange rate in 2021 at the time of election was 16 kwacha to a dollar. Today, it is 24 kwacha to a dollar. Today, 24 kwacha. Today, what's the date today? 12 September. Exchange rate is 24 kwacha, which shows that the kwacha has depreciated 42%.
So what do you think is causing that depreciation? 42% in a space of 4 years. I believe that's a huge depreciation when it comes to currency depreciation, isn't it?
Yes. There are several factors that may have contributed to that. There has been a major drop in the productivity of our economy. Why drop in productivity? Because of lack of energy. We have had a challenging energy situation in this country ever since 2022. You will recall that last year sometime, we were told by the government that we should approve an emergency tariff so that the country can be able to import electricity to feed the industry and meet household level demand. The Zambians, the goodwill, said yes. And that tariff was supposed to last 3 months. What we were told, we agreed. That tariff that was authorized by the Zambian people back in, I think it was October or something like that, last year, is still the same tariff subsisting today. Okay? The emergency tariff, which was supposed to last 2 months, is still the one applicable 1 year later. Okay? Why were we not told the truth that this was the intention ab initio? That their intention from the beginning was to raise tariffs to that level. We were not told that. We were told this would be for 3 months, but it has now become the standard tariff. Now I am told they want to increase the electricity tariff over and above this current tariff. They want to increase it by 600%. Tell me, will Zambian people have access to electricity anymore?
Well, but then again, there's been an argument, Mr. Kopulande, that Zambian tariffs in terms of electricity are the cheapest and they're non-competitive. Don't you think we need to catch up with the entire region in terms of competitiveness?
We need to catch up on cost for the entire region. How do we fare on the productivity front with the other
countries in the region?
Yeah. How do we fare? I think we need to look at things within our own context. To say it's the cheapest does not just justify an increase in price, because although it's the cheapest, it does not, the fact that you increase does not give me the option of accessing the same electricity from a different source. It doesn't. The only source that we are all now resorting to is solar energy. Okay? So to say because it's the cheapest we must increase it is not an economic argument. Not an economic argument. You must justify it by the cost. We've been asking for the the cost of generation study, which has never been made public to date. We don't know how much it costs to generate 1 kilowatt of power in this country for us to justify any cost increase. We are just told it's the cheapest. These are the what numbers? So now when we look at other factors of production, the fuel prices, petrol in 2021 August was costing 17 kwacha 62 ngwe per liter. Today it is costing 31 kwacha plus, 8 kwacha plus, an increase of 78%. Diesel was costing 15 kwacha 60 ngwe back in August 2021. Today is 25, almost 30 kwacha, an increase of more than 61%. Okay. When you look at taxation, okay, the taxes have been going up. On property transfer tax, 5% to 8%, that's a 60% increase. Turnover tax was 4% in August 2021. Today it is 5%, 25% increase. Corporate income tax, it was 15% for non-traditional exports. It was 15%. Today is 20%. So all these factors of production, all the cost inputs in the productive chain have gone up, and making it difficult for Zambian people to easily access this. So we cannot be surprised that poverty levels have gone up, because people do not have alternative ways. They just have to drop their living standards from having 3 meals to having 2, then down to 1 meal a day. But this is where we are. The question is, what next?
Speaking of what next, before maybe we get to what next, you've talked about how deplorable this situation is right now, economically. The UPND came in power in 2021, and this is 2025. Do you feel they're making strides to correct things economically and also arrest the depreciation of the kwacha that keeps on, increasing by the year? Do you think they're putting in efforts to arrest the situation?
I've just given you the numbers. In your view? Look, let's look at the results of what they have done. It's a depreciation of the kwacha from 16 kwacha to 25 kwacha to 24 to 24 kwacha. Mind you, it reached almost 29 before it dropped to 22. It's now back to 24. But that is the assessment we do. Theory has gone up. So electricity tariffs have gone up, and to make matters worse, you and I have only got 2 to 3 hour access to power because of load shedding, and it is not because we don't have generation capacity to meet our needs. We are exporting the power. We are aware that we're exporting the power.
I'm definitely aware.
Yes, we're exporting the power. We're exporting the little power and punishing our SMEs. Our SMEs have shut down. If you go to Katimamingo Road, that was a hive of activity in welding business. Go there. How much welding is taking place? And those are people's livelihood. You go to Kabata, hive of welding activities before. Today, their saloons have shut down. Women's little businesses have shut down. Right? You You and I go to barber shops, right? Each time you go there to a barber shop, there's no power. Those barber shops have shut down. So, who are we doing these things for?
Okay, just
that for me is the question. Because like I said to you before, the purpose of any economic system, any economic policy that you take must be to benefit your people.
Great. Now, there's one thing that you mentioned here, the export of power by the government. One of their arguments, justification, if I may call it that, the reason why they're exporting power is because they want to improve the forex reserves. And of course, obviously, they would want to see the kwacha gaining appreciation by exporting that power using the US dollar and of course, bringing back forex into the country. Do you feel that is a reasonable justification to export power at the expense of the locals?
You see, the only way you can make your foreign earnings improve is by exporting more. What you export more is your product. You don't export your raw material. Okay? And stifle your productivity. What do I call raw material? Electricity is an input into production. Okay? So you take that input into production, you export it, then you starve your productive industry.
Yeah, but it might be an input into production, but electricity is a product on its own, isn't it? It is produced as a product.
We produce it for what purpose? You find that every product is both an input and a product. Okay? In this case, we produce electricity and use it to produce a multiplicity of other products. We power the mines. We power the SMEs. We power the tourism industry. The hotels have got electricity. We power everything else. Now, this is not a common product, electricity. No, it sits at the center of the economy because that is what powers your productivity. That's what drives the economy. Right. In the absence of it, you create a shortage. Clearly, you are killing your productive capacity. And you are creating unemployment. When you're exporting that electricity, you're exporting jobs. Because those jobs that could have been created by your electricity through your industry, those jobs are being created in Botswana, Mozambique, well, not Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia, DRC. That's where those jobs are being created. Okay? And then you need to ask yourself, who is actually doing the actual exporting? Can we know? Can this country be told who is actually exporting the power? Is it ZESCO or is it somebody else? Whoever is exporting, where are they generating that power? These are the questions we must ask. Who is selling power? Is it ZESCO? Let them tell us. Is it anyone else? Let them tell us. If it's anyone else, where are they generating that power that they are selling? Okay? Secondly, how much electricity can they tell us? Can the government, Ministry of Energy, tell the people of Zambia how much power is being generated in Zambia? Not only by ZESCO, they must break down. Parliament has opened. They must go to Parliament with a ministerial statement and tell the Zambian people who is exporting who is generating how much electricity, which company, how much are they producing. Okay? And tell the country who is actually invoicing, raising export invoices. Who is exporting this power? And those who are exporting, where are they doing the generation? The people of Zambia must know. Two, can they tell the people through a ministerial statement in Parliament how much power is being sold and how much power is being consumed in country? We need to have those numbers. We need to know and understand what's happening to our economy.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the things, one of the alternatives that the government is introducing is, the generation of power, of course, through solar panels. They're putting up solar plants in some parts of the country to help pump some power into the national grid. Would you say that is a good alternative? Is it sustainable?
Yes, it's a good alternative. But I still have the question, where is that power going? The power from Samba, 100 megawatts, which was actually started a long time ago, by the way. The Samba power project, solar power project, was not a project that started 4 years ago. Okay, started a long time ago. 100 megawatts. Where is that power from Samba going? We need to know.
Right.
Zambian people deserve to know.
Great.
Zambian people have a right to know.
Let's move on to the inflation rate. The UPND government has actually boasted of having a drop in the inflation rate. And of course, we've seen, the kwacha itself gaining a little bit of strength from 28, last time I checked, I think should be 2-3 months ago, to 24 kwacha per dollar now. Would you say people are feeling the trickle-down effect of the inflation in terms of dropping? Are the prices of goods, commodities on the market dropping as well?
I'll tell you what, just sit here in May this year. Produce their usual statistics, which indicates the cost of living. And they have shown those numbers. But in fact, a family of 5 requires to spend 11,272 kwacha per month.
Right now it's 11,600.
Yeah, 11,600.
Right.
A month. Now, an average family in Zambia has an income of 5,000 kwacha per month. Now, these numbers are always so. To what extent does the drop in inflation impact the lives of people, of the common people on the street? And in any case, when you are measuring inflation, can they tell us what items are put in the basket on which inflation is being calculated? Is electricity there? Is the cost of electricity there? And you find that it's not. And yet electricity permeates everything else, and the cost of everything is fuel rising, part of the calculation of the inflation. Need to question that. So, for me, you can produce any aggregated numbers, as many as you want, as long as it does not translate
for an improvement.
An improvement in the well-being, in the welfare of your people, those numbers
Not just on paper.
Just on paper. This is what that musician wrote. What's his name? Nathan Miranda. Mama Kofi and Munemo. People's lives are getting worse. At every point.
So how best can we get to improve productivity if we don't have load shedding? Is it the only way that we can get to improve productivity? Does the country's productivity entirely depend on electricity?
Well, it is not just electricity. I think what the country needs is a policy mind shift to say, what exactly do we want to achieve? You see, we cannot overcome poverty through slogans. No. We cannot fight poverty by beating our chests as to how great we are, how fantastic we are. That will not overcome poverty. That will not produce growth. We must move towards deliberate, people-centered policies that will impact the lives of people. First, we must ensure we promote growth that is inclusive. Let us make sure that our mineral wealth translates into better wages, better jobs, and better opportunities for our citizens. I get sad to learn that only recently the government removed the 10% tax on
Copper concentrate.
copper concentrate. Surely, with a 64% poverty rate, you choose to give away 10% of the income that you would have earned to invest in the improvement of the welfare of your people. You give it away to multinationals who are plundering your mineral wealth and taking your jobs away to their countries of origin while your people remain unemployed. Let me tell you, where those copper concentrates are going, you know what's happening there? They're building smelters.
And that was one of the reasons why the government had to decide to lift that 10% tax on copper concentrates, because they were saying we are lacking smelters in the country. Do you feel that's a good reason why we should lift that?
Absolutely, they should have done the opposite. What the government should have done is to have even raised the tax on export of copper concentrate to more than 30%.
Why?
To force those who are exporting them to build smelters in country. What stops them? What stops them from doing that? That's the only way we are going to create jobs, through value addition. Okay? When you should be increasing export taxes, you are reducing export taxes to zero, so that your people have no jobs. Okay? And so that the importing countries can employ more people in their refineries. That's a very smart way of creating jobs, isn't it?
For other countries.
For other countries.
Right.
Yes.
So do you feel
that money that we are forgoing, that is money that should have gone to create a mining development fund to enable Zambian small-scale miners to access those funds and be able to invest and participate in the dominant sector of the economy. We have the mining sector, which dominates by a tune of 80% of all our foreign earnings, all our export earnings, without significant Zambian presence. Why don't you get that money? I tell you what I'll do.
What would you do?
I'll set up a mining development bank for Zambians to access. And I'll get that money from the companies here who are exporting our raw copper. I would tax them on the exports and take the money I use to put in these development banks so that my people can access that money to buy equipment for them to do mining. To move away from artisanal mining to a higher level of mining with equipment.
So are you agreeing that Zambians are incapacitated to run the mines? Maybe that's the reason why you would want to put up that, developmental bank.
That what? That Zambians
are incapacitated. They don't have the capacity to run the mines.
Fact. Fact. Not that they don't have the capacity to run the mines. That's a different ball game altogether. That's a different concept.
So we have the capacity?
Zambians? Who is running these mines?
But obviously, like you
tell me, who is running these mines? You see, we must differentiate between owning a mine and running a mine.
Well, obviously,
Zambians are running the mine.
What I meant, obviously,
but they don't own.
Exactly. So do we have the capacity to own these mines? Because like you have said, we have most of foreign direct investment, put up into these mining activities in many other mining sites in Zambia. Do you feel we have the capacity to own the mines as the locals? If not, how can we build that capacity?
The fact that the minerals are in this country already gives us an automatic ownership. So we have the capacity to own the mines.
Then why are we not owning them?
No, wait a minute. We have the capacity to own the mines subject to appropriate policy. Why are we not owning the mines? Yes, policy has so far not created an environment where Zambians will own and run the mines. Now, mining is a heavy capital investment industry. It requires heavy investment in capital equipment. We do not have any financing arrangement for Zambians to access the necessary resource to invest in the capitalization of mines. That's why you find most of the Zambians who are involved in mining are artisanal mining. They are digging with a pick and shovel. Now, you need bulldozers. You need front-end loaders. You need the excavators and
heavy equipment
to do effective mining. But those things cost a lot of money. We do not have any mechanism to provide capital to Zambian mine owners. So what do we need to do as a country? We need to establish a mining development bank. This is what I would look at doing. A mining development bank so that we provide capital to Zambians to get effectively involved in the mining industry. Yeah.
So, like right now, how would you rate the performance of the mining sector under the UPND government? Would you say we have improved from 2021 up until today? Why not?
In 2021, we owned Mopani copper mine. 2021, we owned Sebastian. And we were on the way to returning that mine to Zambian people. Since 1991, those have been reversed. Sebastian was given back to Vedanta, despite I don't know how many denials were given. How many? No, we are not. No, you are lying. We are not giving this back to Vedanta and all that. The mine is back to Vedanta today. Okay? And the presidential speech was given in Parliament. I am pleased to announce that we have given KCM back to Vedanta.
Were you pleased to hear that announcement?
I cried. I cried for my country. Because we had an opportunity that time to bring together a consortium of Zambians to take over that mine. Alternatively, to raise capital from the stock market and to have institutional investors such as NAPSA, workers' compensation, the insurance companies, and all that, put money into the mining sector, which would have retained it as a Zambian asset. Under very opaque conditions. We do not even know the agreement that is there between Vedanta and the agreement has not been public, has not been made public. If it has, let me be corrected. Please, may the government publish the agreement.
Okay. Maybe as we're about to end the program, we just have a few minutes. Let's briefly touch on agriculture. How best can we utilize this sector to grow the economy? Because I believe that agriculture has got a huge potential to be, one of the backbones, if not the main backbone of the economy itself. But if not being utilized quite well, it might not perform as expected, is it?
Well, my brother, you're from the wrong part of the country. I don't know, I'm calling you my brother.
No, we are all Zambians at the end of the day. One Zambia, one nation. So, yeah.
Even people from Jakarta, part of one Zambia, yes. We love it. We love it.
Indeed.
Now, agriculture. This is the backbone of Zambia's economy, like you put it.
Right.
And it's the lifeline for over 60% of Zambian households. Right. You know that.
It also creates employment at a huge rate.
Despite all this, we have vast arable land. 60% of Zambia's land mass is arable. Okay? So what do we need to do? We must transform this sector. Transform this sector in a deliberate way so as we ensure that we have food security in our country, that we create jobs, so that we create rural industries. As a result of that, we will increase export earnings and help and push the contribution of agriculture to our export earnings and stop being reliant only on one sector called mining.
Sector.
Yeah. We need to use agriculture deliberately as an empowerment strategy for our youth, for our women. And for us to achieve this, our policy objectives must be targeted at agricultural modernization.
Okay.
Through mechanization, through focusing on irrigation, and through adoption of technology. You know, with the use of technology today, you can apply fertilizer to each plant according to the requirement of that particular plant. You don't have to just, decompound everywhere, decompound. No. Today's technology can tell you how much decompound this plant requires, and that's where.
So obviously we need to mechanize agriculture, modernize it, and
we need to promote the production of fertilizer locally. That is critical. And we must deliberately head towards organic fertilizers.
So is NCZ a good initiative?
NCZ?
Production of,
yes.
of fertilizer?
Absolutely. Those initiatives must be applauded. Capital fertilizers. It's a pride. I'm a proud man when I see capital fertilizer. They're doing a good job. They are not only feeding our agricultural sector, they are exporting. Secondly, today, we do not have any banking institution that supports agriculture specifically. Mind you, agriculture is a long-term investment. Today, in Zambia, the financial sector only has about 15 commercial banks. All of these commercial banks lend for a maximum of 12 months. Yet agriculture requires longer term investments because it's capital intensive.
All right. Due to time, Mr. Kopulande, we need to end the program right now. Unfortunately, we could have gone on and on and on discussing this.
There is so much to talk about. Can you find Mr. Mwanza 2 hours so that we talk about how do we fix Zambia across all the sectors? On every sector, we will give you specific policies targeted at stimulating that sector, targeted at using that particular sector to empower the youth, to empower our women, and to grow our economy, and creating jobs on it, including the film industry for our youth, so that we can tell our own stories in our own words, in our own way.
Indeed. All right, we'll need to make that for another day. Of course, we can have such talk on another day. Otherwise, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, sir.
Mr. Mwanza, it is my pleasure. Unfortunately, the time wasn't. But one thing I can assure the nation as I conclude is that there are alternatives available. That the Zambians can get out of the suffering and the poverty that we're experiencing today. There are policy initiatives that can deliver that result.
Great. All right, dear viewers, we need to end the program right here. Thank you so much for watching. I've been hosting former Chembe MP, Honorable Sebastian Kopulande. My name is Ruben Mwanza. Thank you so much for watching the program. We are back again next week. Have a lovely evening.